Have you ever noticed that movies always seem to make you look exactly where the director wants? Or how games somehow guide your attention toward an important doorway, an objective or an enemy, without ever showing a giant arrow on the screen? Not because someone tells you where to look, but because the lighting quietly guides your eyes. That's one of the biggest secrets used in both cinematography and game development. Light isn't just there to make things visible. It's there to tell a story and direct your attention. And in Unreal Engine 5, one of the simplest and most powerful tools for doing exactly that is the spotlight. In this video, I'll explain what spotlights actually are, how they work, when you should use them, and the settings that actually matter. And before we begin, I've been experimenting lately with different ways of teaching and understanding lighting concepts, so I've created a free interactive spotlight lab together with a detailed PDF guide. You'll find a link in the description below, and feel free to inform me in the comments below if the interactive guide is helpful to you. Now let's see why spotlights are one of the most powerful storytelling tools in Unreal Engine. A spotlight emits light from a single point, but unlike a point light, it doesn't shine in every direction. Instead, it shines inside a cone. The easiest way to think about it is this: a flashlight. When you turn on a flashlight, the light only travels where you are aiming it. Everything outside that cone stays dark. A spotlight behaves exactly the same way. Unlike a point light, its position matters, but unlike point lights, its rotation also matters. Where you point it completely changes your scene. That's why spotlights are perfect whenever you want precise control over where light appears. And if you're new to Unreal Engine lighting, don't worry if some of these concepts are unfamiliar. I've already covered the fundamentals in previous videos, including basic lighting, directional light, skylight, and point light. Together, they explain how the main lighting systems in Unreal Engine 5 work and how they complement each other. If you're just starting your lighting journey, I recommend watching those after this video. You'll find a complete playlist linked in the description. Let's imagine standing in a dark warehouse. You switch on a flashlight, and instead of lighting the whole room, only a specific area becomes visible. Everything outside the beam remains in shadow. This focus beam immediately guides your attention, without even thinking about it. Your eyes naturally look toward the illuminated area. This is one of the most powerful ideas in lighting. Light doesn't only make objects visible, it tells the viewer where to look. Filmmakers, photographers, theater designers, and game developers all use spotlights for exactly this reason. They're not just adding light, they are directing attention. Spotlights are perfect whenever light naturally comes from one direction. For example, flashlights, car headlights, stage spotlights, security lights, museum lighting, desk lamps with shades, street floodlights, searchlights, helicopter spotlights, architectural accent lighting. If the real-world light has a clear direction, there is a good chance a spotlight is the right choice. One of the biggest mistakes is using spotlights everywhere, because they are so easy to aim. It's tempting to light every object with its own spotlight. And the result? Your scene starts looking like a theater stage instead of a believable environment. Professional lighting usually mixes different light types: directional light for sunlight, skylight for ambient lighting, and point lights for practical lights. And we use spotlights only where attention needs to be guided. Think of spotlights as punctuation. If every word ends with an exclamation mark, none of them feel important. Adding spotlight is simple. Go to the top toolbar, click Lights, and click Spotlight. You can just drag and drop it to your level if you want. Press F to focus it. If you are, for example, far away, just press F and you will focus it back to your light. And make sure it's selected, and on the right side you will see Spotlight selected here. You'll notice something different immediately. Instead of a sphere, you will see this cone. That cone represents the direction and shape of the light beam. Move the light to change where it starts and rotate it to change where it points. And to move it, just select the Move tool here, select and Translate Objects, or W, and move it here like this. And to rotate it, press E on your keyboard and move it like this. So you can point your light where you want. Press W again and move it up. Now let's move through some important settings. We have Intensity. Intensity controls how bright the light is. Just move here and you will see how it changes. Higher values create stronger highlights and lower values produce softer lighting. Always ask yourself, should this light dominate the scene or simply support it? Not all light deserves the same intensity because you want to add some atmosphere. For example, just a little bit like this, you can immediately add some nice smooth light here. Next, we have the attenuation radius. Very funny word, but very important here in Unreal Engine 5. This controls how far the light can travel. Think of it as a maximum distance the beam reaches. So if we go here, you don't see anything because it's really low, so we'll increase it. If I increase the attenuation radius, you can see the distance that beam reaches. And no matter if I increase or decrease my intensity, nothing happens, because attenuation radius controls this. With this attenuation, small values work well for flashlights and larger values work better for stadium lights or searchlights. Next, we have the inner cone angle, and this defines the brightest part of the beam. You can see it here, another cone. Inside this cone, the light remains at full intensity. So imagine the center of a flashlight beam, and that's your inner cone. You can see that inner cone always a little bit pushes this outer cone. So let's move to the outer cone. This controls where the beam gradually fades off. If you reduce it a bit, you will also reduce the inner cone. This is important because instead of ending with a harsh edge, the light smoothly falls off. Let's add a little bit attenuation radius. You can see how this light is smooth. If I press G to remove everything, you can see the beautiful transition between center and this edge here. Let's go press G again. And now if you reduce the outer cone angle like this and press G, you can see how you can make this really sharp. Next, we move to the temperature. Just like point lights, I recommend using Kelvin temperature. Around 2700 K gives you warm indoor lighting, and around 6500 K creates neutral daylight. To change it, go here that says use temperature, and now you change temperature here. You can immediately see how this beautifully changes and reacts to the environment. Choosing realistic temperatures often produces much better results than manually selecting colors. But if you want to manually change the light color, just click here and change it like this. If you want to push into a toxic green for your post-apocalypse game. Spotlights can create beautiful dramatic shadows. They are often one of the best tools for emphasizing shapes, especially indoors. We are indoors, so I will put one basic shape here, drag a cube and select our spotlight again, and you can see the shadows around this cube. If we move it here and if I press G, you will see your attenuation radius. Use E to rotate it like this, press G to remove it, and you can see the shadows here. I will show you how to smooth this in a few moments, because I want to say that dynamic shadows are expensive and background spotlights don't always need them enabled. Reserve shadow casting for the lights that matter most. And just like I said, we move to the source radius. This changes the apparent size of the light source. Small values produce sharper shadows and larger values soften shadow edges. So if you want to soften your shadow edge, just increase the sources. You can see I just overkill it, don't matter. I'll move up a little bit and move it here and rotate it like this so you can see it better, and you can see how our shadows are nicely smooth. So source radius, if you reduce it, it will be sharp, and you just need to add a little bit to smooth out this shadow. Don't go all the way up, just a little bit. A tiny adjustment here can make your lighting feel much more realistic. In Unreal Engine 5, spotlights become even more convincing thanks to Lumen. Imagine shining a flashlight onto a white wall. Without global illumination, only the wall becomes bright, and with Lumen, that light bounces off the wall, softly illuminating nearby objects. The result feels much closer to the real life. Spotlights also work beautifully together with directional lights, skylights and point lights. Each one has a different job, and together they create believable environments. Don't forget to check out the playlist if you want to learn about other lights. They perfectly fit into all these things that we are doing right now. Okay, here is a simple workflow that you can use. I'll just show it and we will just try to replicate it here so you can remember how to do this. So step 1 is to place the spotlight where we want it. So go here, go to lights, go to spotlight, drag and drop it here. Press W to move it up and press G to see everything, press E. Okay, we aimed to our subject. Step 3, we need to adjust the cone angles. So we go to the inner cone and outer cone. Also, don't forget the attenuation radius. If it's too small, it won't do. So just like this, go here. Inner cone angle, make it like this, and outer like this. The next step is to go to the use temperature, click use temperature, and increase the temperature a little bit to create this a little bit synthetic feeling. I like it. And just go to the here source radius and just add a little bit. You can see how light source is getting bigger, so just a little bit to kill those harsh shadows. Press G to remove it, and you have your lighting here. After that, just leave the Lumen to do the rest of this thing, or you can go here, go all the way up, move it down. I like to move a little bit attenuation radius, inner core angle, a little bit more. Press G. You can also add some mesh of a light here, it doesn't matter. Spotlights aren't just technical tools, they are storytelling tools. They direct attention, they create mystery, they shape emotion, and they tell the player exactly where to look. Once you stop thinking of spotlights as another light and start thinking of them as visual guidance, your environments immediately become stronger. If you want to truly understand Unreal Engine lighting instead of just copying settings, make sure to subscribe, because we are building a complete lighting series that explains every major lighting system in Unreal Engine 5. If you would like a complete reference while you are working inside Unreal Engine, you can download the free Spotlight PDF guide below. I have also built an interactive Spotlight lab, as I said, where you can experiment with cone angles, attenuation, intensity, shadow softness, and other settings in real time. And if you're building your lighting foundation, I recommend watching the directional light, skylight, and point light tutorials next. Together they'll help you understand how all these lights work together to create believable environments. You'll find everything linked in the description. See you in some other video.